Hello and welcome to the F&O Show on Bloomberg Quint Live, India's first digital live streaming business news service. I'm Darshan Mehta. Good morning, Agam.
Good morning, Darshan. I'm Agam Vakil. The top headlines of this hour. Markets spare early gains. Nifty slips near 10,300 and India VIX advances further. Open interest surges in RBL Bank, Hindalco as traders take fresh positions in their respective stock futures. Indiabulls Housing Finance is the top Nifty gainer after the company clarifies that its exposures are backed by assets and there are no redemption pressures. High commodity costs may keep Asian Paints profits muted in the second quarter. The paint maker may report a volume growth of 8 to 10%. And SR Steel's lenders select ArcelorMittal's bid for the company. Now, with that, let's shift focus to earnings because Muthoot Capital has reported a 94% jump in its September quarter. And profits, of course, what have been the key highlights for the quarter gone by? Let's ask the management. Joining us right now is Vinod Panikar, the CFO of Muthoot Capital Services. Vinod, good morning and thank you so much for joining us. While we have seen strength in your quarter, and of course, the stock has also been holding up right now, we have been reading about reports about a potential slowdown in two-wheelers and a possibility of slowdown in financing these two-wheelers. Can you tell us a little more about how you are reading the traction on ground?
Good morning to you and your viewers. Thanks for having me on your call. This quarter, as you rightly said, that went by was a very good quarter. The numbers were good. The growth was there. Though because of the devastating floods in Kerala, the numbers were slightly muted. It could have been much more. But we still grew on a quarter-on-quarter basis and also on a year-on-year basis, both in terms of distribution, both in terms of disbursement and in terms of the loan book growth. In terms of the income growth, and definitely you rightly mentioned about 94% growth in the profits. Going forward, we are, in fact, as of date, we are not seeing any kind of pressure on us. While the September numbers have gone by, the October seems to be reasonably okay, and after the end of a quarter, the volumes normally pick up in the second half of the first month. So we are seeing kind of some bit of growth coming up, and we are fairly confident of the disbursement happening, the portfolio holding up, and at the end of it, the company meeting its guidance that we had committed at the beginning of the year.
Vinod, you spoke about the Kerala floods. What has been the impact in the second quarter, and how much residual impact is left for the balance of FY19?
Maybe fortunately the residual impact I don't see much. Now maybe to tell you what is the impact of the Kerala floods, we did see a bit of impact in the month of August, and when the collections went down significantly, NPS went up. In fact, on the 27th when we had a con call with the analysts and the investors, we had actually mentioned about that, saying that we expect a 20 crores kind of growth in the NPA. Fortunately for us, the NPA numbers, overall numbers went up by about 17 crores. Major part of it was in Kerala, which was about 12.5 crores for the full quarter. The numbers went up in the month of August. They came down again in the month of September. The collections was maybe at a 6-month peak kind of thing. October seems to be just taking forward where September left. So we would be fairly confident, and we would say that there is no residual impact which is left out. In case something happens, that could be very negligible, not something which which is not a part of the regular business.
So by the end of the year, how do you see the NPAs moving out for your company? What's the GNPA in Q2, and by the end of the year, what will this number be at?
GNPA on an absolute number basis on the total book was about 121 odd crores, which was about 5.6% of the total overall book of about 2,515 crores. We have committed on the GNPA being at sub 5%, and we are confident that that will happen by the end of the year. That's number one. And more importantly, here one thing which I would want to emphasize on is the NNPA has been going down significantly because of the higher provisioning that we have been making. The NNPA at the end of September was at about 3.5%, and we see that number going to about 3% by the end of the year.
Okay, Vinod, the final question on liquidity and challenges with respect to liquidity. I believe there are some changes with respect to your outlook as well. Can you tell us a little more about the on-ground situation and what we can expect as we move in, perhaps a number on the guidance going forward?
On the liquidity front, let me put it this way, that we are reasonably liquid in the sense we have always dependent on the bank and securitization transactions and public deposits to actually do the major funding. Roughly 95% of our funding happens that way. We had very little exposure to money markets, which possibly was the biggest beneficial, or which was the biggest or the best thing that we could actually do. And that is why we feel that we are not, I would say, impacted very negatively in spite of whatever we are seeing in the overall market. We don't see any major challenge as such going forward in this quarter, or for that matter next quarter. As of date, we are still confirming the numbers that we had committed at the beginning of the year, which we had said that we hope to grow our book at about 35 to 40% on a full year basis, which is what we are committing. We had said that we will have a decent profitability significantly higher than what we had for the whole year last year. The first two quarters, if numbers are to go by, we are on that path and we will achieve that. So guidance wise, we stick to the guidance that we had given at the beginning of the year and what we gave last quarter. So we don't want to change anything. We are confident that the liquidity will be there. We are confident that the cost would be managed, and we are confident that the company will achieve its guidance.
Okay, Vinod, thank you so much for joining us and telling us all the details, and all the best for the quarters going ahead.
Thanks a lot, my friend.
Okay, so we'll get back to the F&O show, but before we get the guest on the show, here's a reminder. If you have any queries regarding futures and option market, you can call us on 022-4540-4141 or write to us on Twitter, Facebook with the AskBQ hashtag. Let's not waste any time. Let's get the F&O experts for the day. Amar Singh of Angel Broking and Chandan Taparia of Motilal Oswal Financial join us on the show. Good morning to both of you. Thank you so much. Chandan, I'll start with you. Good morning. Your view on the Nifty and your Nifty or Bank Nifty strategy.
See, first looking at the Nifty, overall it opened positive but failed to hold its gain, again drifted lower, witnessing some buying at a lower level. So overall it got stuck in a range, but supply is clearly visible at higher levels. Even 2 days back also we have seen recovery in the market, but again it fell down. So weakness is clearly visible in the market at higher levels. So as of now, the broader trading range could be between 10,250 to 10,450. So if it declines, then only the buying interest could come out. Otherwise, selling pressure may meet in the market. So on bounce back move, one can again sell by keeping 10,450 in mind as a stop loss. And on downside, it can again retest the support of 10,250. So expecting it to hover in this broader trading range, and bounce can be sold in the market again.
Okay, Amar, good morning to you as well. Are you also expecting some consolidation on the benchmark indices right now?
Yeah, what we're seeing is that Nifty continues to be strongly supported at lower levels, 10,200, 250 zone. But again, because if you look at Nifty charts on a daily basis, it clearly shows that the downside seems to have subsided for the moment. But the intermediate term trend still remains extremely bearish. That's the reason any pullback is being used as a shorting opportunity and also an exit strategy, because Nifty consistently trading above 10,650, 10,700 mark, then only it would mean that there could be a possibility of a trend change. Otherwise, high levels are going to meet with selling pressure from a very short-term perspective. 10,400, 450, that's an immediate level of resistance zone. So anyone wishing to short should have a stop loss about 10,450. Whereas on the downside, again, as I said, 10,200, 250, that's a crucial zone of support. So this is a range which I see Nifty to be trading in. Only a breakout of this range will clearly establish the next going forward.
Amar, what about stock-specific strategies? Which are the stocks that you're recommending for today?
Yeah, the first one is Biocon. If you look at Biocon, Biocon is one stock which did witness some correction from almost 740 levels to 580. And now it's in an upward trajectory. And also, if you look at the charts of Biocon on an intermediate term or a long-term trend, that clearly is positive. And the long-term trend is extremely strong for this chart. That's the reason we are seeing some rally in the stock. And so Biocon is a buy. Any dip towards 668, 670 levels would be a good level to buy, with a stop loss of 649, a target of 709 in the short term. And the second stock is also from the pharma space, and that is Dr. Reddy's. What we are seeing in Dr. Reddy's is that Dr. Reddy's also continues to be positive on the long-term charts and the intermediate-term trend. Short-term, we witnessed some consolidation in Dr. Reddy's, but Dr. Reddy's also can be used as a buying opportunity. So any pullback in Dr. Reddy's towards 25, 30, 25, 40 can be used as a buying opportunity, with a stop loss of 2514 and a target of 2660 on the upside.
Okay, incidentally, Chandan also has a long on Biocon, but Chandan, along with your call on Biocon, can you also take us through your other strategy on which you're short on?
Yes, positive view on the Biocon and negative view on the Bharat Finance. First, talking about Biocon, the stock is doing well from last couple of trading sessions. Even after the market pressure or volatility, the stock is holding the gains, or in fact, other pharma stocks are also finding some buying interest. We have seen built up of long position by today itself. Even on the last two trading sessions, the longs were added in the counter. So expecting the positive momentum to continue. However, already it has spiked by around 10 points, but still I'll suggest to buy at current levels or on a small dip with a stop loss of 660, and expecting it to move to a 700 to 705 kind of level. Second trade that is on the negative side is the Bharat Finance. We are witnessing selling pressure in most of the NBFC counter, and especially Bharat Finance is making lower top, lower bottom formation. It has recently broken and given the lowest daily close recently of 990 zone. So any bounce is the selling opportunity in the counter. One can sell on bounce with a stop loss of 995, and this stock has potential to go to us 930 kind of level. Talking about the pharma, the other counter also witnessed some buying interest, including Sun Pharma, Oro Pharma, Dr. Reddy, which indicates that yes, pharma is likely to get some buying interest, and Biocon could be the leader or the positive momentum in the stock.
Okay, let's address some of the buzzing stocks. One of the counter which has managed to move up today after a big correction is Indiabulls Housing Finance. It's up another 5% in trade. Chandan, how would you play Indiabulls Housing Finance?
See, overall structure of the stock is continuously weak. Already it has corrected by around 28-29% in this entire series. In the last series also it fell down. We have seen sharp surge in the volatility index of the counter, and a couple of days back it has given a breakdown from its triangle formation. So structure will be weak. However, some recovery or the bounce is visible, but not expecting it to hold beyond 705, 710. So I think bounce could be again sold in the counter. 700, 510 will be the hurdle, while on the downside it can again slip to a 660, 650 kind of level. And that is the reason that we have selected to be short on the Bharat Finance by looking the negative structure and the sentiment of the sell on bounce back in the counter.
Okay, of course, the other counter here that I want to pick up is RBL Bank. What's happened over the last 3 days is that, well, perhaps 2 sessions ago, RBL Bank declined by less than, well, it was actually marginally in the red only, but we did see a considerable accumulation in open interest. That was followed by a 6% drop in the previous section, and another 7% cut coming in today's day of trade, which means together cumulatively it's lot around about 12 to 13% over the past couple of days. There's been severe weakness, especially today, because the volumes have already been 2 to 3 times as compared to the volumes that we've seen over the previous 4 or 5 sessions. So there has certainly been a lot of weakness, and I'm sure Darshan has a thing or two to say about the way brokerages have also gone about RBL Bank, but we are seeing considerable weakness there.
Yeah, so basically, if you want my comment, I think the track record of Morgan Stanley pretty much speaks for itself. The reason of the downgrade, the reason RBL is down is because Morgan Stanley downgraded the counter from a target price of 675 to 450 today. But in July, they had a target price of 500. In September, they changed it to 675, and overnight they decided to change it to 450. So wouldn't read too much into the track record of Morgan Stanley. But Amar, you can take a view on RBL Bank. We also have a viewer query by Vivek Kanodia, who says, is it a good idea to short RBL Bank? Amar, RBL Bank?
Yeah, looking at RBL Bank, what we saw in RBL Bank is that the stock bounced back from 480 levels to 500, approximately 550, and again has corrected to 470. But technically, I would say that 450, 460, that's a very strong support zone for RBL Bank. So there is a possibility that the stock could witness some pullback from the current levels, because as I said, technically from an extremely long-term perspective, the stock has got strong support around 450, 460 zones. So there is a possibility that the stock could bounce back. But if you look at the trend, the intermediate-term trend as well as the long-term trend, that continues to remain bearish. So what is likely to happen, any pullback again will be used as a shorting opportunity, and the stock could go in for some consolidation. And only now a break above, consistent break and trade above 540, 550 levels could mean that the trend, there is a trend reversal. Otherwise, I would say the stock continues to remain witness selling pressure.
That's your view on RBL Bank, but let's address Z Entertainment as well, which is actually down for the fourth straight day right now. It's currently, well, the losses have not been significant, but it has largely been moving in tandem with the benchmark indices. It's down 1% today. There's been very little change in open interest. The reason why I bring up Z Entertainment is because on Facebook we have a query from Zina Satra. Zina Satra has bought 2 lots of Z Entertainment at 456, and the viewer wants to get an idea on the stop loss and the target. Of course, it's currently trading at 450, so well, not too far away from the entry price. That said, Chandan, if I can take your view on Z Entertainment, what would you advise the viewer to do?
The stock is continuously finding hurdle at its 50-day exponential moving average, and especially I'll say that 50-day exponential moving average is exactly working as a trend line hurdle in the counter. 2 days back, it has taken the hurdle near to the same, which was near to 475, and that's why it surrendered. So as of now, expecting it to slip to us 440, 438 kind of zone. So my suggestion is if one can take that kind of risk, then put that stop loss. While on the upside, if it sustains above 462, then only there is hope for retesting the immediate hurdle of 475, 480 zone.
Okay, Akash Randev wants a view whether it's a good idea to short Ambuja Cements at 211. Cement of late has been weak. ACC disappointed. Ultratech came out with disappointing numbers. The commentary was also disappointing. The next number that will come out will be Ambuja Cements. Chandan, Ambuja short, worth it?
Yes, negative on the most of the cement counter. And especially if you look at the Ultratech cement that is continuously making lower top, lower bottom formation, broken the major support and more decline could be seen. So comparatively, Ultratech is more weak. Now talking about the Ambuja, the stock has been moving in a range, fell sharply in last 2 trading sessions, today witnessing some recovery. So my suggestion is sell only on bounce near to 215, 217 zone. Put a stop loss of 225 and then wait for a decline to us 205, 203 kind of level. So suggestion will be sell only on bounce back in Ambuja cement, while Ultratech and other cement counter looks weak even at current levels as well.
All right, we'll move on to the next one. It's on HDFC Bank, which is largely consolidated around the mark of 2000 right now. Our next query is from Chandan Chattopadhyay on YouTube, and he wants to get an idea, a view on HDFC Bank. Let's pull up the future, see whether or not there is any movement. Well, this is one of those counters where you usually don't see considerable increase in OI, and today is an exception, but there has been a 10% increase, even as the bank advances by around 1.5%. Amar, what would you advise the viewer to do with HDFC Bank right now?
I would say that looking at HDFC Bank chart, I would say the intermediate term trend remains extremely bearish. So, and the long term trend remains positive, but that's also now showing signs of decline, or at least consolidation from a long term perspective. So it effectively means is that now HDFC Bank is going in for some consolidation. And the range which I see is that on the downside 1900, 1950. Now that should act as an extremely strong support zone, whereas on the upside against 2040, 2050, that's the range, immediate range of resistance. So the stock could now consolidate between 1950 on the downside and 2050 on the upside. So 100-point range is what HDFC is likely to trade into. And as I said, the intermediate term trend remains extremely bearish. The long-term trend is slowly losing its momentum.
Okay, Urmila Salve has a view on the Nifty. She's asking whether it's a good idea to buy the Nifty 10,500 call at approximately 20 rupees. That's when she wrote. We'll pull up what the Nifty buying call is. It's at 16 now because the market is corrected. Chandan, Nifty 10,500 call with only less than a week to go with the expiry. Is it a good time to buy?
See, as of now, the market is finding pressure at higher levels. Every bounce is being sold in the market. However, it is respecting to support of 10,200. But at the same time, at higher zone, it is multiple hurdle at 10,400, 450 zone. So because of these hurdles, market is likely to restrict its upside momentum. And that's why we are not suggesting to be with buying side of 10,500. Because in the entire this series, the Nifty is down by around 6%. And the volume weightage average of this series comes near to 10,550 zone. And it's trading 250 points lower than the volume weightage average. So that's why weakness could continue overall and bounce will be sold. But yes, if you ask about the Bank Nifty index, that is up by around 0.7% even after the decline of 6%. So if someone has to take the contra trade on the buying side, then I think trading in Bank Nifty would be comparatively better because Bank Nifty is having comparatively stronger setup than the Nifty index. So suggestion is if someone is interested to trade in 25,500 call of the Bank Nifty, that may reward more comparatively trading 10,500 call of the Nifty index.
Okay, on YouTube we have Tamil Selvam. His question is on IRB Infra. And well, he's actually bought the IRB Infra 125 call and he has 4 lots of it. It's at around 1.5. Is it a good idea to hold for the target of 3? I'm assuming this is the current series call which will expire in a few days time. It's currently at around 1.5. Well, what is the chance that the 125 call goes into the money considering the underlying is at 120? Amar, I'm going to take this up with you. What is the chance of that happening and what is your view on the stock and perhaps the options which have been bought into right now?
See, overall IRB Infra, if you look at the stock has been on a sell side and the trend, the long term and the short term, intermediate term trend that remains extremely negative. But what we are seeing from a short term perspective that there is bullish divergence on the charts and the stock is trying to find a bottom. So what one needs to, the level one needs to watch out is 121 level, 121 currently it's around 120.6. So if it consistently sustains above 121 level, then there could be a short covering rally in this particular counter towards 124, 125. So ideally, he should hold on to his positions in the call options that he's bought.
Okay, we'll take the final query. It's from Mohammed Ismail. He wants a view on Dewan Housing Finance. Is this the right time to start accumulating afresh on the counter? Chandan, would you buy Dewan Housing Finance at this level?
This stock is down by around 30% in this expiry, and before that also it fell down sharply. It has seen the correction of more than 70-80%. However, it fell down sharply, going into the deep oversold, but trend is still negative, making lower top, lower bottom formation. Just a couple of days back, it was finding some support near to 197, and it has gone to the same level. So the condition will be if it breaks 197, then don't go for bottom facing. But yes, if sustains 197 and turns higher to 210, 212, then hope for some short covering spike towards 225, 230. So a conditional trade, and for any kind of position, traders need to look at support near to 197, 195 zone for the Dewan Housing Finance.
I would like to add that over the past couple of weeks, one expert after another has advised against bottom fishing, especially in the NBFC space, specifically for stocks which have been considerably weak. And of course, DHFL is one of those stocks. That said, you know, as Chandan has already mentioned, caution is advised when it comes to Dewan Housing Finance, which is once again, well, declining further. Well, we've run out of time on the show, so I'm going to take this moment to thank both our experts, Chandan as well as Amar, for taking us through their views, as well as solving some of our viewer queries. And with that, it's a wrap in this edition of the F&O Show. But for more news and updates, stay tuned to Bloomberg Quint Live.